Hey guys, Iggy back again with Dragon Blogger. So now I'm going to be building with this case the InWin D-Frame Mini. Again, a pretty nice looking case. I'm going to be building with an Asus AM1i-A, an AMD board. The processor on the board is an AMD Athlon 5350 APU. It's a 2.05 gigahertz processor and it is a Radeon R3 video card. It's about as powerful as a GT 330M, a little bit better than a GT 520. So that's pretty nice for onboard video. This board does not have a PCIe by 16 or by 8, so I can't put a full-size video card. I thought it did have one. Opening it up, I see that it didn't. But of course you can get motherboards that do have a full PCIe slot. So in this case, again, you can put a full-size video card. Looks like you can even put a 980, a 970, a 290, you know, an AMD, NVIDIA, whatever you want to put in there. It'll fit in there, just about any size card. So that's pretty cool. Aside from the motherboard and the processor, I'm putting an 8 gig 1600 megahertz Patriot stick of RAM. The board supports 2, but this is for my son. While he does play some pretty cool games, I don't have any more RAM for him, and 8 gigs pretty good. And this is the Kingston HyperX 240 gig, sorry, SATA 3. And then on the side, for storage, extra storage, two 500 gig, oh actually a 300 gig and a 400 gig Seagate Barracuda SATA drive. And overkill, but the only other power supply I had, my own power supply for my machine, my Cooler Master 1200 watt Silent Pro Gold. It will be extreme overkill for this machine, but it'll take it. Of course it'll take it. And well, it's got plenty of room for growth. So let's jump right into building this little bad boy. First off, I will take off the glass side panel. Again, it is tempered glass. Handle with care, and I don't want to scratch it. Scratch it or break it, even worse. And for good measures, it's got a piece of glass in the back too, so I'm going to take that off. Of course, just when I start recording, my neighbor brings his dog out. So now we have this. I'm going to go ahead and move these cables out of the way. That's where the board's going to sit. We don't want cables there. Handy dandy screwdriver. Inside of the bag of the InWin D-Frame Mini, they give you all these screws and all that good stuff, so that's what I'm going to use here. And so they have the standoffs here for motherboard, so pretty nice. A very cool little tool that they include in here. This is kind of a standoff screwdriver. So you put it here, slide it right in there. Then with a screwdriver, put it in, and it's good to go. And the motherboard is going to go like this. So first off, I'm going to put the very first one, top left hand corner. Now let's see where the second one goes. Alright. I'm going to assume the other one goes just right here. And if not, I can take it out, of course. You never want to put all of the standoffs because, for example, this one has 5 standoffs, but the board only has 4 screw holes. So if you put up the other standoff, let's say right here, you're going to ground your board. And it's going to short circuit and blow up. Alright, so just to make sure everything lines up, yep, all the screws line up. So now for the second bag of screws, they didn't label this one because it could be used for your power supply, for your motherboard, probably for a lot of things on here. And yes, for all of you haters, I'm building the machine standing up, not on its side. I'm more comfortable doing it standing up like this. Alright, see how simple that was? Standing up. Alright, and that's it. Motherboard's in. I'll go ahead and insert that stick of RAM. And for those of you that don't know, DDR3 has a little notch right here. You want to match up that notch right here on the motherboard. So if I'm going to put it in just like this, it's not going to fit. I'm going to go ahead, put it in just like this. Flip around the stick of RAM. Click. Click. That's it. I've installed RAM. Those of you that are a little scared about it, it's really simple. Alright, so now let's go ahead and install some hard drives. I'm going to go ahead and put the SSD right here. So now these can be taken off with your fingers, since these are, you'll see right here, these are thumb screws, but it's a lot easier to get in with a screwdriver. So let's go ahead and put this aside for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and install the SSD. I'll use these screws, 4HD 2.5, and this SSD is a 2.5 inch drive. Just different threading. You know what? The way they did this is pretty nice. So this is going to go in like this. You can install it like that, but if you see the way they have this case built out, right here you can slip out some cables, right there, right there. So it'll help the case look a little more cable free. Although since the other side has a glass plate, you'll still be able to see those cables, but either which way. So let me just show you for those of you that don't know. Bottom of the SSDs have a screw hole here, 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 and here. I'm going to go ahead and align those here, 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 and here. So put it on here with my fingers. And I'm just screwing it in. Alright, so now you can see SSD's in there. Mind you, only one screw, but it's in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill up the rest of the screws. Okay, so I'll I'll bring this guy back in. And again, I can't use my finger, so what I'll do is I'll screw this one in first, right over here, kind of like a pilot, and then I'll just use the screwdriver. Alright. Perfect. So now, as I was telling you, see the SSD's right here. So I'll plug in the SATA data cable right here and the SATA power right here, and I'll hide it back here. I'm still going to try to make it look pretty because again this side is exposed. But either way. Alright, so that's the first hard drive. Alright, and for these hard drives, pretty standard to have the screws down here, the screw holes. They're going to match right here. So, alright, for these hard drives, you're going to use the same screws that the motherboard uses. So, the bigger hex head screws, that the threading is not as fine. So you might be wondering, because I know I kind of am, these hard drives are a little bit heavier than an SSD. Well, a lot of bit heavier than an SSD. So, how are they going to handle the weight? These are pretty strong. They don't look it, but those are made out of steel, if not aluminum. Well, I would assume steel. Anything, I'll write about it in the review, but they feel very strong. Now, pretty nice. And I'll do the same over here. That looks pretty good so far. We don't have any cabling, so that's where it might start to get a little ugly, but I don't think it's going to get ugly. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip this guy over just like this. Alright, so you guys can see the power supply installation. So because the cables are going to be coming through the bottom right here, we're going to plug in the power cord up here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Since the cables are going to be fed through here, I'm going to go ahead and just pull them all through. Alright, so power supply's in. Let's come around this side. Looks like I'm going to have to flip it over. Not a biggie. Alright, and everything matches up. So now you are going to want to use the thicker screws, same ones we use for the hard drives. Looks like they're missing one screw. Mind you, I didn't have to use all four for each mechanical hard drive, but I did. Alright, so now power supply is plugged in. Alright, so here's the power supply. The only way you could put it in this case is to have the fan on the back. Just kind of reverse the way it should be. Should be on the other side, sucking hot air out through the back. Either way, it works. There's not going to be much collection of hot air since it is an open case. Now,